Hey guys, if you subscribe to me on my old channel, you know that a couple weeks ago I posted a video about job searching. I have a job now, but I've been looking for a new one because for about the last year I haven't been able to find anything that's full time, and I really need something full time and I need something with benefits. So anyway, in my last video about job searching, I talked a little bit about a couple leads I had for jobs and how it didn't pan out. So I actually had an interview a week and a day ago, and I was really hopeful for this job because it was a company I was familiar with. It was in a great area. It was, to me, the pay just seemed absolutely extraordinary compared to what I'm getting paid now, and it was more than I've ever gotten paid in my life. It had everything I wanted. It had retirement, everything. Well, so I drove up there Tuesday of last week for this interview. So let me give you a little backstory. I applied for this job on Craigslist. It was with a real estate management company for a luxury apartment complex. It's doing the exact same job I do now, but getting paid a hell of a lot more. So, of course, I applied, and I got a phone interview. Phone interview went really well, and they asked me in for an in-person interview. So I'll go up on Tuesday, and it's about 90 miles each way. I go up there, and I was pretty nervous for the interview, but I really rocked it out. I mean, I over-prepared for this thing. I just knocked it out of the park. I mean, I'd researched salaries on Glassdoor. I had note cards prepared with questions for the interviewer and prepared responses in star format for all the behavioral questions. And so I get in there, and it is a really nice apartment complex. It's about the price range of the place that I work at now, but up in Columbus, the city that it's in, you get a lot more than you do here in this college town for that price. So, go in for the interview. Keep in mind I've already had that phone interview a few days before. And I was kind of relieved because when I got in there, the lady was really nice and she didn't try to do any behavioral interviewing. She just went through and asked me questions, mostly about stuff that's on my resume and a little bit about the property I work at now. So I was totally fine with it. It was a not lazy, but easy, laid-back interview, and I thought sure I had it. And part of the reason I thought for sure I had it was not only because I knew I was rocking the interview, but because she kept slipping up and saying, "Oh well, that's what I'm going to have you do since you're really good with social media. We're going to have you in charge of that, and then take some of the other responsibilities away and give it to a secretary." And they just kept talking like they already knew I was getting hired. And that to me was like, oh, well, haha, she keeps slipping up and she knows she's going to hire me. Well, for like every job that I've ever gotten, they either call the day of the interview or the day after to offer me the job. So, didn't think anything of it day of. That went by. Next day, didn't think anything about it until the end of the work day. And then I was like, well, you didn't call me. And I started getting worried. Talked to a couple of my employees about it. And they're like, oh, no. They're like, if they're a reputable company, like they'll definitely get back to you. And I waited. Well, finally on Friday, I called, but I guess when I called, they weren't open yet. So I left a voicemail. And I was like, hey, it's Mark. I just wanted to see how I did on the personality test, which I forgot to mention. I'll tell you about that in a bit. So I leave this voicemail saying, I want to check about that. Don't hear anything back. So jumping back to the interview, the interview seemed to go great, but at the very end of it, she said, I need you to take this personality test. It's required for everyone. You can either do it here or you can do it tonight when you get home. Just the sooner the better. And, meaning, again, of course, I'm hired. They want to get my stuff in as soon as possible. Well, So I just was like, well, I'll just do it here. And they took me to their business center, and I did it. And part of it was a math test, like timed, and then the other part was just multiple choice, whether you agree or disagree with statements. So I finished it. But here's where things got really weird and made me start to worry too. When I got back after finishing the exam, the receptionist was at the desk, and she's like, "Oh, are you done?" And I was like, "Yep." I was like, "Did Alexandria want to talk to me again before I leave?" And she's like, "Well, let me go see." And she walks back there, and she's like, "Nope, you're good to go." And I was like, "Okay, well, it was great to meet you." I shook hands with her and tried to be cordial, but as I was walking out, I was like, that sucked. Like, I felt like the interview went so great, and then she just blew me off at the end. I would have at least seen the person off that I just had an interview with. So it was weird. But I didn't give up hope. Like, I still thought I had the job, because they told me I did. So anyway, 3 days later, made that phone call, didn't get anything back. So Saturday and Sunday go by. Monday, I call, and I said, and I actually got to talk to somebody, but it wasn't somebody that was there when I was there. I don't know who it was. And I said, "Hey, this is Mark," and she's like, "Oh yeah, hey," and I was like, "Okay, hi, I don't know who you are," but she recognized me, and I said, "Hey, I really wanted to find out, from Alexandra where things are with this." And she's like, "Yeah, well, she's on a conference call right now. Can I have her give you a call later?" And I was like, "Yeah, cool." So I did get a call from her later. But it was kind of at a time I wasn't expecting, because she called at almost 7 p.m., and I know the office closes at 5. I actually saw the phone ringing, but I was like, I just wasn't in a, mindset to answer it, and so I was like, well, she'll leave me a voicemail, hopefully she tells me that she got the job, that I got the job, or if not, I'll just call her back in a couple minutes and get the job offer then. And I got this really weird voicemail from her. It definitely was from her, or from that office. It was the same number I call in to call to the office there, her direct line in her office. But the voicemail was not left for me. It was left for somebody named Alexia or Alicia, and it was left by somebody named Bridget, who I don't know who that is. And she's like, "Oh, hey, we're going..." She's like, "Hey, it's Bridget from the Bradford," which is another property that the same company owns in that area. She's like, "I'm not sure..." She's like, "I submitted the paperwork, and I'm not sure where I'm going to be tomorrow. I will try to give you a call back if I don't hear from you." Or she's like, if I don't hear from you, she's like, "Please try to call me. Either Bradford or this other," and she gave the phone numbers. And the thing was, even though I didn't know who it was calling, but they called from that number, and they obviously, I don't have a similar area code to anybody. It's an out-of-state area code. I don't know how they could have got the numbers confused. But basically, I think I got the worst possible thing, is not only did the job completely ignore me and refuse to take my calls or return my calls, and had wasted all my time and gas going up there, but then they called me and left a voicemail for the person that they hired instead of me. So I didn't call back because I was waiting on them. They said they'd call the next day for this person, and I was going to wait until they did that, and when they did that, I was going to be like, I was just kind of act like, "Oh, I'm so glad I got the job," and see what they did. But they never called, and I haven't called back again because, it's kind of pointless. So I'm pretty upset with how that was done. Definitely. And kind of pretty let down about that. I did have a talk with my boss about leaving, and he's actually okay with it. He's supportive of it. So
I guess now I just need to figure out some other places to apply for. I haven't seen any. Been a little disappointed in that too, because at that time that I applied for that job, there were like 4 or 5 of them that would have been pretty good opportunities, and now it's been a couple weeks and there's nothing. So, anyway, that's where it's at. I'm thinking about possibly staying until the end of January to get our big commission check that comes then and the Christmas bonus. But who knows? I'll keep looking too. I'm going to look tonight for some stuff. Maybe I'll find something. Maybe not. Hopefully. In the meantime, I'm just going to keep working 31 hours a week and just trying to get by on that the best I can. So, if I ever get another interview or get a new job, I'll post a video about that. And also, if you hit subscribe, I've got a little link up at the top of the page with my picture. This is my new channel, so I had to start over subscribers. If you just subscribe to me, that would be awesome. And in the future, I'm going to be posting. I will be posting a video tomorrow, also about jobs. That's going to be a really long one. It's going to be really interesting. So look out for that. Until then, see you.